Hello everyone. Just here with a few first impressions of a knife that I picked up. It is the Gerber Airlift, and you can see it on the mat in front of us. I do have the package. I'll just share a few factoids from the package. It was the Airlift Clip Folding Knife, skeleton frame, bare bones design for light carry. It kind of reminds me of the Gerber Paraframe, but it is actually in some ways better than that. So folding knife, frame lock, drop point. Okay, pretty clear cut. We flip it over, and the Airlift is made with 5CR13 stainless steel, handle material stainless steel. Now I actually do like the stainless steel handle. As far as the 5CR13, I mean, it's okay for your regular tasks. You're going to have to sharpen it more. It's probably not going to have the same kind of edge retention. But, you know, at the price point where I bought this, can't really complain about that steel. Let's see, some of the other things here. Fine edge, drop point blade, dual thumb stud, so I'll get to that in a second. Frame lock, safety function, and a pocket clip and a lanyard hole. When they're bragging about the lanyard hole, you know you're in for it. So here is the knife. So it's a nice looking knife. I usually wouldn't care for the gold tint too much. Don't know how that's going to work. Because again, please don't consider this a review. I've only used it for a few days, and I didn't really do any hard use on it. So look at this more as like a first impression, where you're just kind of getting a really close look at it, rather than me telling you all the hard stuff I did with it. So, as you can tell, it is stainless steel grip. Does remind me an awful lot of the Paraframe. Now, keep in mind, I hate the Paraframe, but it seems better than that. You can see it's tapered a bit on the edge, so it's a little more comfortable. We have the lanyard hole right here, and it's a decent-sized lanyard hole. If you like lanyards, that's good. Thumb stud. Keep that in mind. Another thumb stud. Dual. Wow, I guess I paid more for that. And, of course, we have the pocket clip. Pocket clip is kind of stinky if you like deep carry, because it is not a deep carry pocket clip. You can see that about a ½ inch or so from here to the top of the clip will be poking out of your pocket. Let's see the tension here. Decent tension on the pocket clip, so I do think that it's not like springy or anything. So it probably will hold pretty well, and looks like there's a pretty decent ramp there to get it over your pants pocket. All good things. As stated previously, it is a frame lock, as you can tell right in there. Now, I'm going to open this up. This weighs 3.2 ounces, as I found before. And I'm going to open this up. And we'll take a few measurements. The specs are supposed to be 2.8 inches for the blade. And let's see, yep, it's about 2.8 inches for the blade. And the handle is, let's see. Let's measure this right like that. We're looking at just about 4 inches. So we have 2.8 inches for the blade, 4 inches for the handle, for a total of almost 7 inches. Seems like it makes sense. Now, as far as my hands go, if I hold it, you know, just like this, a nice tough grip there, it basically fills my hand pretty well. Not a bad knife. The ergonomics are decent. Not the best knife, not the worst knife. It's just, you know, a pretty all-around decent knife. Now, as far as sharpness goes, it did come pretty sharp, so let's try cutting this cardboard here. I just cut some paper with it, not cardboard, but we'll see how it does. Now this is pretty thick, granted, but it really doesn't do a bad job. So as far as sharpness right out of the box, it certainly delivers there. And like I said, it's not a bad looking knife. I don't know how this gold color is going to keep up, is going to hold up. My guess is that it probably won't hold up that well. But again, that's a guess I have, because I've heard that other knives, sometimes the blade colorings don't hold up well, and that's what sometimes expensive knives, this one wasn't. Now, this knife I have seen online, because I wasn't familiar with it before I saw it in the store. I've seen them selling for $25 to $30. If you see this knife for $25 or $30, I would recommend not buying it. I don't think it's worth $30 for a knife. I think you could probably do better. You could probably get, it's like a Civivi, like so maybe something on clearance. Sometimes they'll have like $60 Civivis at various online retailers for like 28 to like 32, 33. I think you're better off sticking with one of those. Maybe a couple of Cold Steels, some Kershaws. This particular knife, again, I don't think it's worth $30. Now, fortunately, I bought it on clearance. I paid $9.99. $9.99, it's a good solid knife. And my reason for buying this, because I have better knives than this, and I have knives that are similar to this, so it doesn't really bring anything new to the table, but my reason is because I want a cheap knife to keep in my car door handle. I've told some of you before that I keep a cheap knife in my car door handle, but I want it to be, let me rephrase that, an inexpensive knife, but I want it to be something decent. So I used to have a Ganzo knife. Now, for the money, a lot of Ganzo knives are like $15 to $20. They're excellent knives for the money. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find another knife at that price point that's as good. Well, I had my Ganzo. My wife needed it one day, so I gave it to my wife. She has it, so now I need something to replace the Ganzo. I put the Walmart, what do you call it, the version of the Axis lock. I forget what they call it, but it's basically the fake Axis lock made by Walmart. Yeah, that thing's not ready for prime time. Not a bad knife, but I want something that can be quickly deployed with one hand and quickly closed with one hand. It also has to be as close to 3 inches as possible without going over 3 inches. And I also like something that's basically like a full handle. So this one's pretty good because it has the full handle, it has a 2.8-inch blade, and it has thumb studs, so you can open and close it pretty quick, right? Right? No, you can't. You may have noticed before that despite having thumb studs, this knife is not easy to open. I've been opening it and closing it, so I can kind of get it open with one hand, but I cannot deploy it quickly, and I have to get it at just the right angle. It also like drags. It is like not smooth at all. I have had tack force knives that are way smoother, easier to deploy, easier to close. This is just terrible. Now, I did put some oil in there, and it helped slightly. Some of you might be thinking, hey, did you loosen the pivot? I tried to loosen the pivot. Unfortunately, I believe it has the crap Loctited out of it. So I'm actually going to hit it with a heat gun for a little while, then try and loosen it slightly to give it a little more room. Now, the lockup on this knife is, by the way, just for those of you wondering, I think I have at least average strength for a male. I'm a pretty big guy. I'm over 6'3", 300 pounds. So, opening a knife shouldn't be strenuous for me. Okay? Now, lockup is pretty good. Very, very, very good lockup, side to side, front to back. That's not an issue. Now, of course, if I stop playing around with the pivot, that's probably going to affect lockup. I might be able to get it to just that right point where it's not too bad. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I did check out some reviews online, and one person, bless their soul, thought it was like the best thing since sliced bread. The other person said that they bought this for their son for camping trips. Unfortunately, the son, and I don't know how old the child was, if it was, an 8-year-old or an 18-year-old, couldn't open it. They needed 2 hands to open it. Even for them, that wasn't too easy. And the father said he had difficulty opening it using the thumb stud with one hand, which is kind of where I sit. If I had a son who was, let's say, 14 or 15, and I bought this for them, I'd be pretty upset because, it's just very awkward. And especially when you advertise something as having thumb studs, you think you're just going to kind of open and close, and I have been opening and closing this thing quite a bit, either between uses or when I am using it to cut things and, check it out. And it's only very, very slightly slightly better. Like if I had to rate the crappiness of opening this knife on a scale of 1 to 10, with 0 being awesome to open and 10 being super duper crappy, it was a 10. Now it's like a 9.85. So it has improved, but it still sucks. It really does. So like I said, I think I'm going to have to do a little work on it. Like I said, I'm going to try that pivot screw after heating it because I think it has the crap Loctited out of it. And you know that's just about all I can do. Like I said, I guess I could try like putting a little more oil in there, but that made very, very slight difference. Really not much to speak about. If it doesn't improve greatly, then basically I'm out $10 because I wouldn't put this in my car. Like I said, I want something. I mean, the size dimensions are perfect. The blade profile is perfect for me. The ergonomics aren't bad at all. So it is the type of thing I like to keep in my car, but I want something that's easy for me to deploy and close. The frame lock, not a huge frame lock fan, I gotta tell you. Not a huge frame lock fan. My favorite are button locks. That is my absolute favorite for opening, closing, everything. Now, if it had a liner lock, that's a little more forgiving, but even the frame lock's kind of like a pain in the neck. My thumb feels like it actually worked a 40-hour week just like opening and closing this thing the last few days. So, basically, knowing what I know now, if you like this and you don't mind messing around with the pivot with a heat gun and adjusting it, it might be good for $10. For $30, I would definitely pass. Like I said, you see it on sale, on clearance for $10, maybe you might like it. Because it does have some things going for it. You know, it's a pretty cool looking knife, nice blade profile. It's a cheap steel, but on the bright side, it'll be easy to sharpen when you, wear the edge down after, kind of basic use. Basically with Gerber, you don't know what to expect sometimes. I mean, like I have a couple of paraframe knives, and they're inexpensive. They suck. I don't like the ones I have. I have 2 of them. I find them to be terrible. I have a Gerber fast draw. I think it's a pretty nice knife. Very, very good opening and closing and whatnot. My only issue with them is, the thing drops and the blade invariably just goes flying up. Not the best thing. And there's actually a safety on it, which I usually don't like, but on that one, it's called for. The remix is pretty good. When I go places where I can't carry an auto, I take that because it's almost 3 inches. That one's also a bit awkward to open and close because of the style of the pivot, but it's manageable when you get used to it. And then as far as multi-tools, I have a dime, and I think it's fantastic. This, like I said, I kind of put it closer to, much closer in quality to the paraframes than that I would put it with the remix, which I think is far superior. And actually, if you were going to spend like, $35, you might be better off getting a remix because you could probably get one of those for $35 to $38, and this one's selling for about $30. So for a few dollars more, if you really want a Gerber and you want a cool, sturdy knife with almost a 3-inch blade, I'd really go with the remix over this. Just my thoughts. If you like this video and other first impression knife videos, I would appreciate a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, that would be a good thing to do. I'd appreciate it. Have a good one. Talk to you later.